Welcome to another episode of
Ball Status.
You have a great memory. I always forget which one that is.
I remember the buttons. All right. We are back. Just two of us this time for our Boss Status podcast. I'm Doug Miller, followed by or sitting next to my co-anchor.
Oh, I usually say sidekick.
Sidekick.
I'll take sidekick. Oh, you want me to introduce
This is where you be
This is the trusty sidekick.
Brigade.
Patrick Meaty Thighs Mabe.
All right, and we are back. So this is a special episode because this is an Ask the Boss episode. So for those who don't know, now you know. Hold on.
Where's the clapper?
Oh, wait. That'll work. So our podcast started out as Ask the Boss. And in Ask the Boss, we would talk about supplements, like the deals of the week and things like that. And then we would also then kind of rant on certain things and take questions from the audience. We're live right now, but also take questions through email and whatnot. And we would talk about those. When we moved to North Carolina, we converted that into two different podcasts. We had Boss Status. That's this podcast where we talk about the business of health and the health of business, where every 2 or 3 episodes we have some guests of the industry. And usually Carl the Cuck Frady is on this as well. He's one of our other hosts of Boss Status. And then we have Supdates, which is about an every other week podcast where we specifically talk about the brands that we own and all the deals and the things that are going on, new products. So we are bringing back an Ask the Boss episode of Boss Status. Now we plan to do this. What is this, a once a month thing, every couple week thing?
I think this is every couple week thing.
I think so too. So
this is a fan favorite. People love the traditional Ask the Boss. There's some ranting that happens in Ask the Boss.
And so there's going to be about 3 different, did we figure 3 different types of Boss Status podcasts now? We're going to have the Ask the Boss, and then we're going to have where we bring on an outside guest.
Yep.
And then we're going to have our traditional kind of longer length podcast where we talk about some type of, usually it's like a leadership.
I got our next guest lined up.
Do you want to
Well,
spoil
I got
that?
2. No.
Okay.
But I'm just letting you know. I'm working on it.
All right, guys.
And I'm soliciting you to other podcasts at the same time. So
You're just listening?
Yeah.
My body?
Yeah, that's what I do.
Okay.
We need DMP Clothing's next.
All right, so we are live on Instagram now. So if you guys have any questions in here, I'll try to peek over here every so often, and then we'll go from there. Let's see here. All right, Meat, take it away. This is your shtick now. I don't know what the questions are. I don't know what we're going to get
And just so you guys know, we will throw up a post or a story about 24 hours ahead of time of this podcast. So save your questions, or you can email them in. I do want to create a Ask the Boss at Core Nutritionals email, if that's possible, so we can actually start stockpiling them.
Yeah.
Get it. So look out for that. Keep your questions coming. So we're going to go right to your comments section on Instagrams. Doug Miller Pro. All right, here we go. With how quickly the business is growing and the amount of possible stores/gyms to come, is there the possibility of franchising out or partnering? Is there opportunities for buy-ins? This is a
all right, so before we get there, let's
oh shoot. Golly.
American Energy, thank you, our sponsors. We're going. All right. Fruit Punch is my number 1. Patriot Punch is my number 1.
Alpine PP is my number 1.
For reals.
It's what I want to drink. You know what I mean? It's just goes down smooth, easy. It's got that little citrus in there. Patriot Punch. I love Patriot Punch. Yep. It's up there, top 3 probably. But just I got to be like in the sweeter mood.
Oh yeah, see, I'm just sweet all the time.
You're just so sweet.
In honor of.
It's the last day of Pride Month. Sweet, get that sweet out, bro.
I was waiting for that.
Sweet all day.
Bro,
tomorrow I don't count.
We can't get canceled on our first episode.
I hope we get canceled.
All right, so is there a chance of franchising or buy-ins? That was basically bottom line question, and this actually comes from one of our employees. So yes, there is probably not buy-in on the brand side. I would think one day when I am ready to step like way back from the brands and stuff like that. I think there is an opportunity for other ownership structure for the brands, but not anytime in the next 10 years. In terms of the stores, I think in the very near future, we're talking a year, maybe a year or two. I would like to open up ownership to other people. And I would want those other people to come through the Nutrition Corner ranks. So I wouldn't just say, okay, Joe Schmo from Florida has, an extra couple $100,000, right? And he wants to own a supplement shop and he wants to buy in. I don't think I would just say, okay, well, let's do this. I would rather it be coming from one of our employees who have kind of worked up through the ranks and have kind of earned the right to have ownership. The way we would set it up, I'm thinking right now, is it would probably be something like a 55-45 split. So the corporate would still have the majority ownership so that we can protect our brand. So we've thought about franchising before, and franchising, from the feedback and the people that I have talked to who have done franchising in the supplement space, they very quickly can lose control of their brand. So I want to prevent that from happening. So I still want to have the final say in what we do, but I also want to give those employees and those people who've earned it a chance to kind of dream bigger than just working as an employee in a store. Right. I want them to have ownership and understand what that takes. That doesn't, people think that equity is like the end all be all, but man, equity is a big responsibility because sometimes, especially in an LLC partnership, if that company makes $100,000 that year and you're at a 55-45 split, right? Or something like that. So that minority person, the minority person and the majority person. So let's take the minority person. They would show $45,000 of income, but in a growing business that is inventory rich, they might have only taken $10,000 out in owner draws that year, right? But they're still on the hooks for paying taxes on that $45,000 of income, right? So this is what is very difficult with our brands, and especially when we're talking about many multi-million-dollar brands, and they're all growing. On paper, we could have a banner year and show a ton of profit, but in the world as it exists today, we've been forced to buy for multiple reasons. One is because the prices are going up so rapidly. We increased our inventory buying rate because of that, but also because our growth rate was increasing as well. So we've had to double our inventory, and all that inventory is at extra cost. So we doubled our quantity, but the costs are almost double on certain things. So a lot of the profit that we made last year is not like sitting in my pocket. It's sitting on their shelves out there. But Mr. IRS comes at the end of the year and says, you owe X amount of money. Well, where's that cash? The cash is in finished goods on their shelves. So that's what makes it very difficult. And so that's why I say that equity is not always a great thing. And so for those people, those entrepreneurs or those people who want to have ownership, know that could be the case. If you're running a retail store that's really growing and you have to grow inventory and you don't take those owner draws, it could be difficult. It could be difficult. Now, the way I would set it up is I would want the partners for those businesses must be owner operators. So there is not an opportunity. I do not want to share equity with somebody who wants to be a passive owner. So this would be, like I said, somebody who wants to work the store, be the general manager, be the face of the community for the store. They would also have ownership. And then they wouldn't only be paid like I would be paid. I would only be paid by owner draws. They would be paid by owner draws plus the salary that we would be paying the manager. So that's a mistake that I think a lot of people make when they get into business with people who are working.
For a scenario like within our own company, well, I guess that is the scenario. But for the the minority, do they need to come up with the cash, or can they take?
So
can they work the cash?
So that's a TBD. When I go into business with somebody, I always want the person going into business who's whatever percentage they are, they need to bring that, whatever the startup money is that we need. They have to bring that money.
Yeah.
So if a store needs $150,000, let's do 100,000 to make it easy. That means I would bring 55 to the table. They would bring 45.
Right.
Knowing that that's a lot of money and they might not have 45, depending on the situation, what I would like to do, especially for those diehards to kind of reward them, is, give them, I would put up the money. They would have the 45%, but the first 45,000, well, I would make them put up something. They put up 10 grand, but they still owe 35. Yeah. The first $35,000 of owner draws goes into my pocket instead of theirs, with maybe some small interest, 5% or something, something that's reasonable on it. So basically, I would be the bank for them so that they wouldn't have to go get a loan.
Another question to add to this. This is good. I like this. Yeah. Could it be on an existing store, an existing location, and how would that change? Like, because the store, you don't need the money for the store. The store is already there.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I guess it could. I would do it as a buy-in. And it depends. I mean, an existing store that's already showing income is worth more than just the value of the inventory and that, right? Yeah. But a new store that needs to go through all that, really the only upfront, the cost is what money you need to get it started.
Right.
So it would have to be a case by case, but in that case, there would definitely be a buy-in, whatever that is.
Of the value of what the store's worth.
Yeah. And it would have to be a special situation where, and it might not be all paid up front, but that, it'll be paid back. And it would be something where I would expect them to open other stores as well. So
love it.
Word.
That's cool. That's exciting. I think that's super exciting.
All right. Brian joined. Don't say anything bad. Don't say it.
Booty, 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 booty. Look at that booty, 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 big booty. All right. Next question.
I wish you guys could see Aaron dancing behind the camera.
He was dancing to my booty dance.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
I miss Ask the Boss, man.
I know. I love Ask the Boss.
I love Ask the Boss.
Things get so
juicy.
Weird. All right. Let's see.
Bro, there's a lot in there.
Okay. This is short. Thoughts on GVT versus cluster training? What's cluster training? First question. What is cluster?
Isn't that like there's different...
So German volume.
I don't know the exact definition of cluster training. So
well,
maybe once you look that up, all right, get the Google machine. So I love GVT. So I think cluster training is like you have little mesocycles within a longer.
Oh, I was thinking like a... Because German volume training is
ask Google.
A single exercise. Cluster sets. Cluster training involves sets with built-in intra-set rest periods ranging from 10 to 30 seconds, which allows for more weight, reps, and total volume lifted within a single set.
It is rest pause. Yeah.
So basically 6 reps.
I don't think I've ever heard
rest
it called
pause for 10 to 20 seconds. No, I haven't either.
Yeah. So rest pause. I think they're two totally different things.
Didn't Dorian Yates call it HIIT training?
No, but he didn't take that break. He just did like 4 to 6 rep type of thing, right?
He'd do 4 to 6 reps, and then he would rest pause, do 4 to 6. He'd fail, and then he would do a back off, and then he would fail, and then he'd do force reps. It was like one total set all the way.
And wasn't dog crap training that way too? A little bit. Dog crap had the extreme stretching with like certain one all out set and then like a 20 repper at the end. There's all sorts of different. Yeah. So I love German volume training, and honestly, I like doing German volume training. Believe it or not, either when I feel really on or I feel really off. And I'll explain that. So when I feel really on, then I want to really just tax myself and push some volume and move some weight. I like doing it. But I also like doing it when I feel a little off in the sense that like I don't really want to think about my workout. That's
when I want to do it.
Like I just want to go in there and, I don't want to have to think about what I'm doing or what exercises I'm choosing. And I just want to maybe not do like a max out weight, but do a lot of volume. It's just mentally, it's mentally challenging, but at the same time, it's mentally easy because you kind of just zone out. You put on the right music, and it's just like you do your set and you wait. You do your set and you wait.
Yeah.
You do your set and you wait. And GVT workouts have been the single hardest workouts that I've ever done. Have been GVT. My GVT deadlift. It was probably when I really used to do a ton of deadlifting. The best 10 by 10 that I've completed was a 475, 10 sets of 10. I think I have that on YouTube. I tried to do 485 one time for 10 sets of 10. I got to the 8th set, and I couldn't stop shaking.
Was this at your house, at your old house? Didn't you?
No,
try?
I did 475 for 10 in my basement. I did it then too. But yeah, 485, I remember it was Boston Gold's Gym, and I sat down. The thought of doing another set, and I only had 2 sets left, and I don't give up. I was shaking. I was physically ill. Like, I was literally shaking. I definitely probably gave myself rhabdo or something.
For sure.
And I had to sit there for a good solid 10 or 15 minutes I was tasting blood in my throat, and I was shaking. And that was probably the only workout that I've never just not completed, based on what I wanted to do. But I love it. I mean, I think German volume is great. There was a stretch where I was doing a lot of different German volume. I think German volume arms, you pick 2 supersets and you do like 10 curl with 10 push down, and then 10 closed grip bench with 10 overhead extension or hammer curls or something like that. Those supersets, that is like the craziest arm pump you're going to get. So I love GVT. The cluster training rest pause, I use sometimes, occasionally, but I don't do that on a regular like I do GVT. So I'm definitely a big fan of what you look at?
I'm just trying to understand it a little bit more.
It's complicated.
That's what I mean. So I think to also answer the question, I feel like a cluster is a little bit more thought out, a little bit more complicated.
I mean, it looks like it because it looks like they're doing longer rest phase.
I can't blow it up.
Yeah.
But it seems a little bit more, it's a lot more thinking involved in a cluster.
See, any type of training that I have to do a lot of thinking, I don't like.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I just want to get in there and do. So, like where they're doing like this is a, RPE 8.73 for 2 sets.
Oh, when
of
you
it.
get decimals involved and
Yeah.
percentages and stuff, no.
That's
It's not how we do that. It's not how we train. All right. Moving on. Ready? What was I going to say? I was going to say something else. When was the last time you deadlifted?
Pick a weight that allows failure at 15 reps, then do 6 sets
Oh, is that
of 4 with 10 seconds rest between the mini sets. Got it. When's the last time I deadlifted? I've deadlifted within the past couple months, but I'm not doing it regularly.
I feel like, for you to actually do it regularly now, you'd have to build up.
So I just started getting back into doing barbell squats.
Really?
Yeah, so the past 2 weeks. So when I start getting back into something, I like to do it at the end of a workout. So I'm not doing like heavy weight.
Well, eventually you put that closer to the front.
Depending on how comfortable. So like that's what I started putting hack squats back in when my knee was bad. So now, so I just got back into doing squats like 2 weeks ago. I only went up, it was the end of a workout. I just went up to 225 for 15. Yeah. And then last week I went up to 275, and then I'll go up to 315 or something like that. But like deadlifts is hard because like I'm never going to deadlift. Well, I don't want to deadlift and just go up to like 315. Like I would rather not deadlift. Yeah. So, and actually when I get back into deadlifting, what I do is I go right to GVT because for me, it's a neurological thing where like my body gets used to doing it more because I'm doing 100 reps of that. So like I will get better at it quickly by doing the higher volume. So when I go back to doing deads, I'll probably go back to GVT and I might only work up to 315 for sets of 10, right? On the GVT. And then the next week it might be 335 and then 365 and then 405.
Well, and also getting back into it, you'll probably get better throughout the GVT, right? Like those first couple sets will just not be, You'll feel stronger by like set 4 or 5.
And I got to a point where I think I'm in a good mental space that like, I was talking to Brian, who when we were training the other day, is like, there's always something. Now that I'm 42, there's always something. Like right now it's my neck. like my neck, I'd hurt to turn my neck, right? Yesterday, it was like my shoulder was a little stiff, my knee, my back. There's always going to be something. So I'm more about, but I get better pumps right now than I ever have in my life. Like yesterday, my shoulder was kind of feeling off, and I did shoulders and arms because I'm letting my rear delt heal on this side a little bit. So I didn't do any pressing. But then I did some arms, and my arms felt like they were going to explode. Like, it was great. Like, I literally felt my skin ripping. So, like, my pumps are better, and I just felt better by not trying to be stupid and doing things that I could potentially hurt myself.
Yeah.
So, and that takes a while. Like, when you're used to deadlifting every week, and that's been your thing. Like, people come up to you like, man, I watched your 405 for 30, and I can't do 405 for 30 right now, right? Like, there's a part, you have to get over that mentally. Like, that was a phase that I was in, and now there's other phases of my life. But at the same time, like, I want to wake surf, right? If my back is messed up and, and my knees hurt, like, if my shoulders bother me, I won't be able to throw with the kids. And I do that like every day. So I've been really enjoying more just really chasing the pump, still training really hard, but not worried about setting a PR even.
And I think that's what's so cool about bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you are a power lifter, you have numbers you're chasing, but like, to continue to sculpt the body, you don't need to be doing 4 or 5 for 30. The base is there.
I did really want to get 405 by 40. But that would be pretty I won't.
You wanted to get what?
I won't be able to do that. But 405 for 40 would have been
nuts.
Like, yeah. Like, break the internet nuts.
Yeah, break the internet.
Dodro came in here with a question. He said, is there a business that you don't know much about that you would like to get into one day? I'll tell you what. I want to own a Chick-fil-A. Because, man,
yes,
those are crazy.
Or we'll settle for a Wawa.
A Wawa? Yeah, dude. That's a CODG
I
right out here.
I want to put a Wawa next to Sheets down here and just let them. We'll go.
The retail space right here in the front.
That's what I mean. Wherever that was, this way or that way.
I wonder if that's enough.
It is that.
If
way.
Wawa came to me tomorrow, if you're listening, if you came to me tomorrow and said you would put, I would shoot free sandwiches and you carry
gas.
And you carry American Energy
and gas.
Yeah, free sandwiches and gas, and you know what? I will give you that land to build your place on. How about that?
Deal. Somebody tag Wawa real quick.
Yeah.
Dodge, we'll get Wawa in there.
So, yeah. Chick-fil-A, though. Have you ever been to a Chick-fil-A that wasn't slammed?
Not really.
Ever.
Or can't remember the time. Because there was a time, I feel like there was a time where they exploded.
But I think their model is apparently only like 4% of franchisees that apply, that even financially qualify, get it.
And James, I think they picked the spot for you, I think.
Oh, I mean, they very well could.
Like, I don't think you have a say in the.
I never want to go to the Costco again in Mooresville because they're putting a Chick-fil-A right in front of it. It's going to be nuts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right there next to Academy and all that?
Yeah, right in the front. It's already up, Chick-fil-A sign.
It's already a crappy.
It's already tough, right? But yeah, Chick-fil-A would be bomb. And, I think they do something with their franchise also that, like, you have to be an owner-operator. They will not give you a franchise unless you're actually working in the store.
They'd be cool to have on the podcast to talk about franchise.
Chick-fil-A. Tag Chick-fil-A.
Tag Chick-fil-A, Dodge. We'll put them in. All right, here we go. In the book, Good to Great, they talk about getting the right people on the bus without the need to incentivize them. What is your opinion on fostering the environment for the right people, and what have you done with your various businesses to foster the environment for the various people that work for you? Man, Tyler, that was a good question.
So that comes down to culture, right? That's what that question is asking. The fostering the environment, it's a culture environment. So I think first and foremost, our culture was kind of shaped not just by myself, right? It was shaped by a number of people that lived a certain way or had certain attributes. And it wasn't until about a year ago that we actually memorialized our core values. And I think that has been super helpful because, and I highly recommend every business, even in an early phase, memorialize your core values. And in Good to Great or Built to Last or one of those, they actually say every company should really go through that process in writing down your core values because it makes decision making really easy. How many times have we sat at the table out there and we're questioning whether or not to do something, and one of us will go, well, is that one of our core values? And it's like literally like that we answer the question. It's either yes or no. And so I think writing those down are important, but those core values have been shaped over years of our culture. And, for me, building the culture was not something that I necessarily did, like I was conscious of. It was just how we worked and acted. So I think you can't build a fake culture, right? So like a lot of those core values come down to how our key people act. So like if you're acting different from your core values, they aren't your core values. So I think it's just being true, and there's no right or wrong core values, right? There's many virtues and attributes that are not our core values that are great. But these are our core values. So I think it was one of those things that we just acted a certain way, and we've kind of developed it from there. And now, very quickly we can tell if somebody's going to make it here.
Yeah.
If, people that come through the ranks here generally work out better than outsiders coming in. That's not to say that it doesn't happen, because there's certainly some outsiders that have done really well, but those outsiders there's definitely been an adjustment period. Right. So like, Aaron, I'm sure this place was a lot different to work for than Pepsi. You kind of sunk in pretty quickly though. Like, but I know Tyler coming from outside, he's our warehouse manager, was different. We had one employee here who was used to working like, clock in, clock out type of job. And we don't clock in and clock out. Even if you're an hourly employee here, you just don't clock in and clock out. Well, I guess technically you do now, but it just doesn't, your mentality isn't like that. Oh, I work for 4 hours. Now I get a 15-minute break.
Right.
It just doesn't, we're not that way. We will never be that way. I don't care how large we get. It's just, I guess it's easier for me to say here when we're able to do that, but that's just not the culture I want. I will not micromanage anyone. And if you can't figure it out and you can't work in an environment where or you can't thrive in an environment where you're not micromanaged, then you won't do well here, because you're going to just have to figure it out. You're going to have a role and a responsibility, and then you're going to have to figure out how to get it done.
Yes. The big thing
just yes.
Just yes. It is Pride Month still, so just yes. What I was going to add was the people that have, I guess, been, so like myself, Carl, a few others that have been here for over 5 years, 7, 8, whatever, how long Carl's
been here for 42.
It explains the importance of, and Carl talks about it, time is continuing to tell the story.
Yes.
Is that we need all the people that have adopted these core values, live by these core values, know the story, and then continue to pass that on. And I've realized it more than ever with adding more outsiders, because literally this entire table is outsiders.
Who talks about keeping the story?
Outside of our
culture? Like where is that does Jim Collins talk about keeping of the story?
I don't know.
I'm trying to
Carl
think.
will know that answer more than I will.
I think it is. It's like you have to. I think they even recommend the CEO or somebody literally write down the company story at some point in time. But I don't even know how that exists, because everyone has a different perspective. But
I'm reminded for you and whoever has the story. It comes from you the most.
Yeah.
But to retell the story.
Yeah.
At major, events so like global leadership or a Christmas party, or when we're all together in one roof, which is not all the time, a once to twice a year, to sit back down and just retell the story, because there's going to be new faces in there, and then it's continuing to foster the culture that we have and we have created.
Yep.
And it's super important. So I've just realized that now more than ever in my role too, because we have new people here that it's important for me to pass that on and make sure that that's held up to.
I think I was just thinking, part of our story has to be our China trip. I just keep going. I've been thinking about the China trip so much lately. So we have a wall here in HQ.
Do you keep talking to
Boschwan?
What was his code name? I forget.
Do you have a code name?
Called him Bo, but he didn't like Bo. He had like an American name he wanted to be called.
Yeah.
Lee.
Lee.
Yeah, that's his code name.
So we have pictures of some crazy stuff, and Pat was searching through all our pictures.
I'm gonna put him up tomorrow.
Did she print the newest one?
I don't think so.
The Great Wall of China?
No, not yet. But that's on
so there was one I'll never forget, the Great Wall of China, and they were trying to get us to say something in Chinese, and for some reason I just
had that video.
I couldn't like I don't know if I didn't want to do it or I couldn't do it because I didn't know what I was saying. So I made Pat do it. So Pat said, something in Chinese. He probably said like we're a bunch of suckers or something like that. And he said something in Chinese, and then they gave us like a little coin that means like great wealth or something. Great business. Coin. The good guy coin.
Yeah.
But man, that is a trip I will never forget.
No.
It is the greatest thing.
It was a good time.
It was so good.
It was such an experience.
I just want Subway.
I just wanted a sandwich.
Yeah, I just wanted a sandwich.
The freaking circle of death, man, with this fish eyes staring at me.
Yeah, so for a big guy, you know much.
Your little stomach.
You
have little stomach.
Cow pussy. One time.
This one time,
I ate cow pussy.
Such inside jokes too. Like nobody knows what the hell we're talking about.
Aaron, have we told the story of the China trip on on Ask the Boss? Not when you were here. It was probably
we should just do a straight podcast and we'll
talk about
write it all out, like from getting on first class to Chicago, from Chicago to China, and you
where I was asking you permission, like, should I do it? Can I do it? Can I do it?
I was like, Doug, just do it.
And I was already like pushing. Like I was like, okay, didn't hesitate one second.
As soon as I sit down, I get spilt orange juice on me in the bag. I couldn't. There was not an American in sight. Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, it's a good time.
All right, let's move on. We got a couple more questions before we get too late here to wrap this up. What projects are you most proud of? What level of growth do you hope to see in the next 5 years?
Well, we wrote down when we did the core values last fall, we had some financial numbers for the brands that I want to say, was that a 5-year or a 2-year?
It was more...
that was a wig.
Short term, yeah.
It was just like a 2 to 5 year goal.
I don't think it was...
Which I think realistically we could hit that next year.
I forget the numbers.
Yeah. We could hit that next year. I think Sam wrote them down. But I think my short-term goal, so there is some property around here that we've been looking at for an expansion. So it's kind of funny. We've been here literally 1 year exactly. And we're already figuring out what to do. My goal is to turn this entire building into the Crusher Coliseum. 32,000 square feet. I want to do like a training facility for kids as well related to it. So I want to do like indoor batting cages, not like machines, but where you can pitch and hit. So like maybe 5 different bays where you can slide the nets or open them up. Maybe indoor soccer on like take 10,000 square feet and do that. And then the rest would be, increase of like a big functional area, a bigger powerlifting area, and then obviously just more bro stuff. And then in this front section of the building, turn this into a full-on store, a cafe, probably locker rooms, that type of thing. And turn this entire building into the Crusher Coliseum, which I think could honestly happen. What did I say? I said, was it 2024 that was going to happen?
Yeah.
So
and a certain number of membership
numbers, yeah. And I think that could the membership goal could happen before.
I think it will.
I think it could happen in just this little spot.
This right here, dude.
Yeah. So, but with that being said, we need to prepare for the future. So there is some land nearby here that we're looking at. It's quite a bit of land. Not all of it is buildable. But the great thing is it's connected essentially. So that would be a project. I actually talked to our banker about it last night. That would be a project that,
sure, Doug.
He's like, that's feasible. We'll find a way.
We'll make it happen.
We'll make it happen. So yeah. So that's kind of what my short term.
Next 5 years.
That's the next 5 years. Yeah, and the thing is, what's most proud of, I think, one of the things that I'm most proud of is the culture. More so than the numbers, because how many times do we get a comment from somebody like indirectly that we do things differently? or you have great people, right? Like that type of thing, you can't put a value on that. And that attracts more good people, that puts more good juju in the air, that brings more business, that builds more trust. And, that will all lead, the money will come if you build that, right? So it's not any one product or it's any one thing. I think it's the overall culture, which I don't even know how to describe our culture. It's very unique. I think it's very entrepreneurial. It's, find your own way type of thing. Not super corporate. That's what I'm most proud of by far.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of disciplines that involve self-disciplines.
Yes.
Right. And if somebody's slacking in the self-discipline area, we as a culture will push back on that person.
I think that happened.
Dude, I think when was the last time you worked out? Right? Like, I think you're slacking within yourself. It's not at work, but it does carry into work.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, this disciplined culture that we have, we're brothers and sisters together, and we want each and everybody to be self-disciplined. I think that's a good way to describe it, too. I had a call with Steve Calabrese last night. He called me.
Are they coming down? Did you invite them down to HQ?
Yeah, that was the secret that we were supposed to say, but I'm working on
a Tim and Steve podcast. That would be epic.
September 24th is their block party, so it's like your birthday weekend.
Steve's
house. So he's like, if Doug comes, we're gonna have a birthday bash Friday night before the block party. That was my Steve Calabrese impression. But the point of what I'm bringing him up for is he was in a positive way blowing smoke about how our culture is and how good, because we were talking about Sam and I about to have a child and having to take off, and how much value that is to you and how important it is for us to be available and working. And he was just really complimentary, and it fills up my passion tank when people speak about our team and our culture.
For sure.
Anything. I love when people come in here and be like,
what y'all do here?
Y'all have a fun job, don't you? Yeah. We're over here playing basketball or hitting ping pong or something.
I got Frank is in here he's like, cigar business. I'll tell you what, Frank, I don't know how many times I've called you Frank. I really don't call you Frank much. It's Bella. It's Bella. We all know. I would love to, and I told you this before, like I would love to have a cigar shop, but I am very conscious of, I do not want to be in a smoke-filled environment like 24/7. So like I love cigars. Like I truly am at a point now where I love cigars.
Have you had one on the boat yet?
I have not had one on the boat.
Ooh.
I'm trying to figure out, but that's got to be, you park the boat, you anchor, and you sit, and there has to be like an ash roll.
Oh, bro, you could totally drive and while your boys are surfing and smoke a stove.
So the only problem is the wind. I like to sit up above. I like to sit on the bolster. There's like the seat folds up, so you sit high, and I like to sit almost above the windshield. And like getting blasted is not like.
Well,
the best.
you're just gonna have to cruise it. Sit
we'll
low.
Figure it. So, but anyways, I was getting back to like I really do, especially in the summertime. Like I force myself. I mean, especially like this weekend is probably a 2-cigar weekend. Maybe 3, but probably a 2-cigar weekend. I got friends coming in from out of town. We're hosting a lot of the employees on the 4th of July, so we're definitely smoking some cigars. But like in the summer, I'd like to limit to once a week max. And then, in the winter when it's not as nice, it's like maybe 1 or 2 a month, 2 a month, maybe 3. But like, because, like it's not good. I know people that had cancer, like my dad used to smoke a decent amount of cigars occasionally, but now, I had one with him the other weekend, but he went through prostate cancer, and so now he's a year pretty much type of thing. So I'm very cognizant of it, and I wish they weren't, so bad for you.
It's still overall a negative thing.
Yes.
But there are some studies that it can increase free testosterone.
Really?
Yeah. We'll dive into that one day later, but I have read that, and I don't know how qualified.
Smoking what?
Cigars. Maybe even cigarettes. Tobacco in general. But
I like this. I like
there's
this.
probably a threshold,
Yeah.
right, where you probably can easily cross it.
But so anyways, like if you own a cigar bar or a cigar shop, which I would still be interested in owning, I would just only show up once a week.
Which is fine. That'd be huge.
It'd be huge. Bella, hey,
Doug Miller here. It's Doug Miller, and we all,
Lake Norman cigars. I can't do one in Arizona because it has to be here and I need to be able to enjoy it. Lake Norman cigars. We can call it whatever you want. Figurado, Lake Norman cigars. Whatever floats your boat. Literally. It's a cigar. On the water cigar lounge.
Oh wow! Now you're
Like a party wagon, like a big pontoon where you just go. Float and smoke?
Float and smoke.
Is that like
On a pontoon.
Is that like soak and poke?
Oh no, not that. I'm bad memories.
He did say, let's do a Core America cigar. Could we do that?
Yes.
Actually, I remember Julian talking about that once. Somebody did reach out to him to start a cigar. Something tells me we have to go to China soon. Let's see.
I hope not.
All right, meat. I think we have time. I got a call.
All right, you want to go?
I have an important call here in 6 minutes. Can we do?
All right.
You know what? Let's film this and then let's do one next week. We can do this. I love the Ask the Boss. I'll tell you what.
Okay.
You feeling it, Aaron?
Yeah.
You feeling it?
We might have to mic you up, bro.
Yeah.
Get the camera back. What just happened? What just happened? All right. Let's dive into some product stuff.
All right. Rapid fire, 6 minutes.
How do you foresee formulations going for most products such as test boosters, pre's pumps, sleep aids, etc.? Do you think companies will just raise prices, reformulate, or break up into 2 or more products? Do you think the industry will start to decline?
So there is right now an arms race, no pun intended, to creating the best pre-workout, like the most loaded. We are launching our best pre-workout that we've ever created in the new Fury version 2 for our Vitamin Shop launch. It is awesome, but I will tell you, it is not a kitchen sink. Like everything, it's completely loaded in 5 different areas, but we could have thrown even other things in there, right? One thing we will never do is a kitchen sink without thinking about it, without beta testing it. I think a lot of people are losing the art of formulation. They're just throwing a bunch of crap in there, right? But with that being said, for one of our brands, we are in the process. This is a little nugget. I don't even know if I should say, because we don't know if we're going to do it or not. We are in the process of having quoted and tested a light version of our pre-workout. So this does not compromise our core values of just, non-prop blends, efficacious doses, like over the top. But it does keep in mind we want to give access to certain people that might not be able to afford a $54.99 pre-workout, but maybe a $34.99 or a $29.99 will be good for them, right? So I'm buying the $54.99 pre-workout because, even if I was working, for $10 an hour,
put it in your budget.
I'd find a way, right? Cause that's important to me. But your weekend warrior who still might want quality, but doesn't want to blow their budget on just a pre-workout, there is an opportunity for a more reasonably dosed. You don't need 6 grams of citrulline in a pre-workout. Efficacious dose is really 3 grams. The market has just trended towards that. So why not do a 3 gram citrulline and, just lower the juice a little bit, but still get results.
Right.
So we are actually in the process of providing another alternative. We will never have only light versions. This would be like a one-off given the way the economy is right now, given the way inflation is and, dollars are going less far. This is something that we're looking at now for one of our brands, which believe it or not, I'm excited about.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I think of college kids right away.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You can still get a very high quality brand, a great formula, but for half the price.
Yeah.
All right. We got time for one more.
All right. I love this question.
All right.
You're going to have to be quick. How do you balance being friends with your employees but still maintain a professional relationship and without losing the level of respect that comes with leadership?
Who is that?
Felicia.
Oh, man.
And then she is growing as a leader.
She is.
Hopefully taking on another store. And I bet that's a struggle. I struggled with that as a manager in the nutrition corners.
Well, no one said anything about being professional. We said we have a culture. We didn't say we had a professional culture. I mean, honestly, that is difficult. It's difficult and it's not because I think while sometimes it can make it harder to have a conversation with somebody, I think if there is a level of friendship and respect, I think it makes that conversation easier to have if it's difficult because they know you're not coming from like a malicious boss place, you know? So, I mean, it's hard, but I don't know if I would want it any other way. Like, I literally am friends with everyone in here, in this place, you know? Like,
we're coming to your house.
We're coming to our house on the 4th of July, and that's not because, like, I'm doing this as an employee thing. It's just, like, they pretty much are my friends, right? Like, that's who I'm friends with because I spend so much time here. So I really wouldn't want any other way. I think you have to cultivate that respect, though, where like it's a two-way street. You have to respect them as your friend and your employee. And then at the same time, as an employee who's a friend, you need to understand that, okay, this isn't Doug, my buddy. This is Doug, my boss, trying to make me better. Right. And so and I think that needs to be cultured. I think you and I struggled with that a little bit at one point where you're just like, I have trouble differentiating between Doug the boss and Doug my friend on certain things.
Right.
And I think,
Well, and then
but it was good. I mean, you addressed it to me. It was actually more the other way. It was like,
hey, like I'm struggling with, I got you in like 3 different parts of my life, friend, boss, brother in Christ. Like we're doing Bible studies together. We're doing everything. Right. And it was just like, I would get super frustrated when Doug the boss tells me to do something or is asking me to do something or whatever the case may be in a work situation, which is his role. But then he's my friend, so then I would take it as like, man, my friend's telling me to do something. So it's also on the employee side, it's a learning process, and I think what makes it better is that we are able to have these conversations.
Well, I think that's what did make it better. By you saying something, I was more cognizant of like, am I coming across as a dick here? Because like I'm trying to get you to do employee things, but are we maybe currently in a friend environment? Which it's hard. I have hard time doing that at like Steph had to say to me the other day, like, because we just moved into our house and it's really overwhelming. There's so much stuff to do. Was at a breaking point like today because we've had contractors in all the time. So she's like, I took like the first 2 weeks and met with most of them, but then I got to get back to work. So like she's had to be there and Griff is out of camp. So like Griffin had diarrhea all week. So a kid with diarrhea all week, plus having contractors come through all the time. So she couldn't schedule her own workouts. She couldn't schedule the things that she wanted to get done. So it's been really frustrated. And she said to me, she's like, when you come home, you can't be boss Doug. Because I was finding myself, and I apologize. I said, okay, I can see that because we have a lot to get done in the house. So I'm in boss mode.
And the house can be treated as a business. It needs to be treated as a business.
And I was like, okay, so you're going to do this, but it was more like kind of like demanding boss. Not like, okay, we're going to tackle this together type of thing. It was more like, and I wasn't like but it just came across. It was like, I totally get it. I could see where that's boss Doug carrying over from work, you know? And so it's hard. I guess you have to handle that.
Well, I think the key to in any relationship, whether it's in work, it's communication, right? Within your marriage, within your friendships, within your workplace, communication is number one. Yep. Dude, we got to end it there.
That was good. 50 minutes. That's good. That's a good length.
45, 50.
But let's save some of these questions for next time, too.
All right, I'll start a list.
All right, guys, let's do this. Let's commit to doing this Ask the Boss version.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Do we still do that?
Every other week.
I don't think so.
Something like that. All right, guys, till next time, keep crushing it.